Welcome to List of, where we count down the incredible, the unbelievable, and the downright insane. Today's list, famous people who survived against all odds. These aren't just stories of scrape and bruise. These are tales of human grit so powerful, they make your average superhero movie look like a relaxing Sunday stroll. Our story begins not with a bang, but with a screech of metal. In 1925, a bus and a streetcar decided to have a disagreement in Mexico City. A young Frida Kahlo was on that bus. A handrail impaled her through her pelvis. The accident would cause a lifetime of pain. For most, that would be a life defined by suffering. For Frida, it was the fuel. Confined to her bed, she started painting. She turned a broken body into some of the most raw, vibrant, and unforgettable art the world has ever seen. She didn't just survive the accident. She consumed it and made it part of her legend. Speaking of consuming things, let's talk about Ernest Hemingway. The man was a walking disaster magnet. In his life, he survived malaria, anthrax, pneumonia, dysentery, skin cancer, hepatitis, anemia, diabetes, high blood pressure, 2 plane crashes in 2 days. Yes, you heard that right. A ruptured liver, spleen, and kidney, a crushed vertebra, and a fractured skull. The man wasn't so much a man as he was a collection of spare parts held together by whiskey and sheer force of will. His doctor supposedly said his blood pressure was the highest I have ever seen in a human being. Hemingway probably just asked if it was a new record. But if we're talking about records, few can match the sheer, unadulterated torment of Louis Zamperini. An Olympic runner, his plane crashed into the Pacific Ocean during World War II. He spent 47 days adrift on a life raft, fighting off sharks, starvation, and thirst, only to be rescued by the Japanese Navy. He then endured 2 years of brutal torture in prisoner of war camps. His will to live, to not give his captors the satisfaction of breaking him, is a masterclass in the strength of the human spirit. His story is so incredible, it had to be told by, well, another person on this list. Because surviving a bear mauling seems to be a prerequisite for legendary status. Take Hugh Glass. In 1823, this fur trapper was, let's say, rudely introduced to a grizzly bear mother. He was mauled, clawed, and bit within an inch of his life. His companions, certain he was a goner, took his rifle and frankly ditched him. But Hugh Glass, not done yet. With broken bones, festering wounds, and a spectacular beard of pure vengeance, he crawled. For 6 weeks, he crawled over 200 miles to safety. He didn't just survive. He embarked on the world's most motivated and terrifying crawl. Sometimes the enemy isn't a bear or prison guard, but a single, immovable object. Ask Aron Ralston. While canyoneering alone in Utah, an 800-pound boulder shifted, pinning his arm against the canyon wall. For 5 days, he tried everything. Dehydration, delirium, and the acceptance of death set in, and then he had an idea. A terrible, gruesome, life-saving idea. Using a cheap, dull multi-tool, he performed his own amputation. He then rappelled down a 65-foot wall and hiked out to be found. His story is the definition of being between a rock and a hard place, and choosing to leave the hard place behind. The ocean gives life, but it can also take. Bethany Hamilton knew this. A rising surf prodigy at 13. She was in the water when a 14-foot tiger shark decided her surfboard looked like a snack. It took her left arm. Most would never surf again. Bethany was back on her board within a month. Not only did she return to professional surfing, she became one of the best in the world, competing and winning against athletes with twice the limbs. She was attacked by a shark, and her response was essentially, "Is that all you've got?" Our next survivor proves that your odds don't have to be on the ground. They can be 6 miles up. In 1972, Vesna Vulović was a flight attendant on a DC-9 jet. A bomb tore the plane apart over Czechoslovakia. Vesna plummeted 33,000 feet, that's over 6 miles straight down. She was found alive in the wreckage, pinned by a food cart that somehow cushioned her fall. She holds the Guinness World Record for the highest fall survived without a parachute. She is quite literally the ultimate fall girl. And finally, a different kind of survival. Not against nature or accident, but against ignorance and hate. Malala Yousafzai was just a girl who wanted to go to school. For that, she was shot in the head at point-blank range by the Taliban. She not only survived the bullet, but she recovered, grew stronger, and became the youngest ever Nobel Prize laureate and a global symbol of peaceful protest and the right to education for everyone. She survived the worst humanity could throw at her and responded with courage, grace, and an unbreakable hope for a better world. From the depths of the ocean to the heights of the sky, from the savagery of man to the indifference of nature, these individuals looked impossible odds in the face and said, "Not today." Their stories remind us that the human spirit is the most resilient force on this planet. If you have a story of survival, tell us in the comments below. And for more incredible lists that prove truth is stranger than fiction, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Until next time on List of